Representation and story, because stories matter. I have always loved picture books. They tell the stories that shape our world. As a teacher of the deaf, I've always looked for books that relate to and validate my pupils' experiences. And this video is about one of the books that I have found. A baby affected by magic. Magical helpers that enable the child to journey away from his parents, to find himself and return, and then to change his home. It's also the story about parents making sense of their child's deafness and the child teaching them how to parent a deaf child. The story starts with the moon child blowing bubbles that surround a young prince in silence. His parents, the king and queen, are upset and want to find a way to fix him, to get him back to normal. They try technology and wizards, but the child finds his own way. One morning, the prince hears the song of the Moonbird, who he follows to a magic garden. He learns how movement can create meaning and is taught by the silver monkeys how to talk in sign. He then goes home to his parents, but they cannot understand him. The moon child feels sorry for the family and sends a magic bubble to them. Suddenly, the king and queen realise that signed language is beautiful and valuable. They are able to understand their child. The prince reveals that he has brought a seed from the magic garden, which he plants to grow into a tree that grows into a place for the Moonbird to sit and sing. The writer Joyce Dunbar was born in 1944. She's written over 70 books and is perhaps best known for her books Tell Me Something Happy, Grumpy Duck, Oddly, Mouse and Mole, and many, many others. Joyce Dunbar became deaf herself. The illustrator Jane Ray was born in 1960. She's also well known for a very large number of children's books. Her artwork is always handmade. She uses watercolours and pencils as well as collage and metallic inks to make really distinctive decorative patterns that really show her interest in multicultural identity. She says that the British Museum forms the main part of her inspiration. I love Jane Ray's illustrations. They're so rich and beautiful that they make a real wonderful addition to any bookshelf. I love the way that they add to the story, showing more about the world than the words written by Joyce Dunbar alone. I also like that the king and queen are really shown compassionately as they hunt for a way to fix their child. Like many parents who have a deaf child, they find it confusing and worrying. They don't know what to do and they're hunting for a way to make things back to their expectations. Finally realising that they are the ones that must change to make sense of the child they have. In this book, the prince's deafness is never presented as a curse or as bad. It just is. It's part of him. He's shown as intelligent, curious and happy. I also love the way that the story describes the language and music of what all of the prince sees. However, one of the things I don't like about this book is the way it implies a binary of deafness, as that you're either deaf or hearing, and don't represent all the different ways there are to be deaf. Many of the deaf children and adults I know do not fit into a binary of hearing or deaf. Very few are totally without any sound. Many make good use of hearing aids and cochlear implants using technology to access their world. They use speech in some situations and sign in others. The image of deafness here seems to me to add to the division of deaf people into deaf people who do not use hearing aids and use sign as their communication, and hearing impaired people who use hearing aids and speech but don't sign. I don't think this is a really helpful dichotomy. The term deaf is a positive term for all people who do not have average hearing. Like Orla in the story, they're not broken or impaired, but they experience the world differently, whether that's through their vision or through technology. The history of deaf education has divided deaf people into signing and oral, but I think there is and should be a recognition of the continuum of experience. I think that's my main frustration with this book. Another is that signed language is shown as a beautiful magic rather than as a language to learn and to value, and that takes work. I love the core story of the prince and his parents, but I think the devices of the moonchild, the moonbird, the monkeys and the trees just kind of make it a bit overcomplicated. I felt like the story could have worked equally well without the moonchild. And why is it that the child can hear the birds sing? The monkeys in the magic garden are lovely, but why did he need to be guided there? I don't know if you think I'm wrong, but please tell me in the comments why you think that these elements are important. In conclusion, I love this story. I love the pictures, and please look on YouTube. There's lots of some really fantastic BSL interpretations of the book. Hopefully I'll get a chance to put some links in the comments. What I'm not so sure of is whether it's really good representation of deaf identities, or whether maybe it's just incomplete representation. Maybe this has most value with other representations of deafness. This is not a picture book for very young children, but it is ideal for working with Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 children to explore their identity and to explore story. The beautiful illustrations give it usefulness up into the secondary years and give lots of scope to explore what representation and identity mean. There is so much in the pictures that make this ideal for exploring with children, and not just deaf children, but all children who enjoy the worlds of fairy tale. I hope you've enjoyed this book review. Now, the gods of YouTube say that I must say, like, comment, share and subscribe. And actually that's really important because it helps other people to find my video. Bye, and thanks for listening.